All right, today is the 11th of September 2021. Roger here. This is part number 6, 914 Porsche LS engine build. And this is not about bolting stuff on today, but it's about prepping for sanding. So this is the rear deck lid, actually in really good shape. And tell you what I've done right here. I already got the bottom sandblasted, just little sections of it around the corner. And then since it was so smooth down there, I hit it with 800 grit paper. And up here I'm hitting it with 400 grit paper just to roughen it up a little, but it's baby butt smooth already. Then I'm gonna come over here and put my filler on it, which is Basislack. This is all my 2021 Porsche GT Silver is the color of it, and I got the paint coat and everything. This is the hood, and there's a link out there. It's called, the guy's called Paint Society, and I can only highly recommend you go to this guy's site, because again, this car is going to be painted inside this garage, and I've already got all my plastic and everything. And the reason why, a couple of reasons: I don't want to drop $8,000–9,000 in a paint job here in Germany, or even if that's going to be that cheap. And I want to be able to say I've done it myself. I've painted probably 15 cars in my life, and they get progressively better. And again, go to this guy, it's called the Paint Society, just Google him. And for example, this is also done down to 400 grit with the orbital sander. And then this is just a low area right here. So I'm going to put a little swipe of Bondo on here. This is just a little bitty detention. You hardly even see it, but just a little swipe Bondo. And then here's a longer one. Now what I did try to do on the other side right here, you see I've got my marks on there. There's a little mark right there. And I took a frog, what I call, this is the backing or just the backstop. And then I'll take a nice smooth mallet and I just barely popped it out a little bit. Not big force hits, but nice controlled smaller ones. And I got a pretty good sized dent out of here. This dent I really can't get out, although it was a lot larger than it was, simply because it's on this brace, underneath this brace right here. So instead of trying to put a tool underneath there, I'm talking like a 1/2 millimeter of Bondo. I mean, I can barely feel it right now, but anyway, this hood will be nice and shiny, so I want to make sure I get all that out of there. This is the door that I've been working on quite a while now. This actually had a pretty good sized little indentation right here. I push it out from the back as best as could, and now I'm block sanding here, and you can tell it's actually pretty smooth. And things like this I just have to pay attention to. That's where the paint's popped off a little bit. That's got to peel off and sand it down smooth. Continuing on over here, this rear deck lid is actually pretty good. I've got the thing popped off, and again, what I did with my sandblaster is I cleaned up all the little crevices. This is of course the bottom end of it. And then here are all the pieces also that are going to be painted silver. This is completely sandblasted inside and out. Then I hit them with a pressure washer today, and I'm just going to sand those down. And the goal today is to 2K primer, then primer filler is what the Germans call it. And here it is right here. This is, again, you mix it 2-to-1 or 4-to-1, the mixture's on here. And you spray this stuff on pretty heavy, and it actually turns out really good, because then you take 800 to 1,000 grit hand paper, wet dry sand it, and it turns into baby butt smooth. This right here is obviously the gas tank, and I did the same thing on here. I put the filler lock on here, the filler on here, sanded it down. Now you can see I painted this outside. I got a little bitty bug hit me right there. I don't know if you can see that or not. But again, it's the damn gas tank, so I'm not really that concerned about it. But it turned out really smooth. Got everything bolted back together. And this is just sitting here waiting for reassembly. Along with, I cleaned up all my crap here because I had to put my little rollers. By the way, 1957 NSU Lambretta. I picked this up for cheap again because it wouldn't start. And anyway, it started about 20 minutes after I got to the house. But anyway, long story short. Here is all the parts. They used to be in a big pile right over there where the Honda is sitting. And I basically put them all here so I can have a little frame, a little room. This is called 914rubber.com, and I had to go large on this one. This is every single piece of rubber trim, door jambs, everything. So 914rubber.com sent me that whole thing. I hate to say it, but I think it was like 760 bucks, but anyway, I had to do it. Anyway, here's all the parts. Wood brakes, 5 legs front, And there's the rest of the parts I got up in here. Basically, it's just a reassembly. The goal is to have this thing painted by the end of September, which is in about 2 to 3 weeks. There's my practice door right there. Turned out pretty good. And let me come out here and just show you a couple things on the car. So the motor is in here one more time. I got my cross member in here right now that Ralph recommended to me. You might have seen that in the last video. And just bolts right here. These are actually blind bolted in the back. You can see my threads way up in there. And I just got it sitting here right now. That gives a little bit of rigidity left and right. This is just laying in here right now because I'm trying to figure out the best way to mount this without having to go into the engine compartment. And my goal here is to actually mount it right here, the fuse box right here, and then put a good sized hole right here, mount the ECU where it's sitting right here, and then underneath it I can just get some kind of box, plastic box, and take all the excess cabling, because what I hate is excess cabling laying all over the place, and just have it nice and clean right there. But anyway, I haven't drilled any holes right now. And then this right here is my throttle body, and it sticks right here, and you can see I just need to trim out just a little bit more on that side where that black line is right there. But anyway, motor is in. It's clearing every place. Actually, I'm surprised at how much room I have in here. I'm gonna go to the other side, and you can see those supports that are actually welded in there now, solid, so they shouldn't move anymore. Did okay on some of my welds, but I don't weld like roll-on weld, so that's it. And then this, as you can see, that's the bridge from here to here, and this goes over here. I'm pretty proud of my little shifter. This is my 6-speed Boxster S transmission, and then because I was bored one evening, I went ahead and drilled some nice little holes over there and polished it up. This will get a little leather boot over top of it. All these right here will be welded shut or flat, and then the seat's going to go in here, and I don't want to put the console because I kind of like that open thing in there. Vintage AC heat is already in, and I know I got some backlight problems here. And then the rest of the stuff, I got my little windshield wiper reservoir here. I got this so you can actually push down, lean forward, and fill it up. And then right there is my dog box for the other side. And again, I'm looking ready to paint this thing. I got my battery box mounted up in here, some pretty decent welds up in here, and then the battery will mount right here, obviously. And then I'm going to put some threaded rod up here, come across here, and then hold it down so it's kind of stable up in there. But that's it. Making some pretty good progress on this thing. Be a short video today, but oh, I got this figured out too. Drilled 3 little holes right here, and then when I come over here, these are the cheapies I ordered off the internet. For example, driver's side. And see those little threaded, I think they're M5s. I basically got them hot, drilled a little hole in there, and then put some super glue, and then they're pretty well in. There's not gonna be a whole lot of, there you go, sits on here like this. And then I'll have 2 flat carriage bolts here, 1 and 2, just pressing it down here, and that'll make it all flush. It'll be flush up against here. These will also be painted silver. And then of course the radiators, A and B, 1 and 2, right here, mount on both sides, and then they get their cooling from the big blue cable right there coming off the ECU, so that's completely computer controlled. Anyway folks, that's it. Should be video number 5, and it stopped raining now, so I'll probably be setting up my my little paint booth right there in the middle of that field out there, and I'll just be spraying the underside of the trunk lid and the hood right here. So I really don't care if there's a bug gets in. I just want it nice and shiny so it doesn't look yellow, green, and blue, which are the colors that I have so far. Anyway, this is pretty smooth up in here. That's it. So hey, thanks a lot. Take care. I'm at about 10 minutes of talking, so appreciate it. Bye-bye.